Okay, so the first thing that we need to do if we want to check how much water we have coming through our garden tap is to collect a bucket underneath it that's quite large, just in case we have a really high flow rate. Now we're going to turn the tap on to its full capacity, so not just a small amount, but we're going to turn it the whole way around. And once we count to 10 seconds, we'll turn it off again, and that will show us how much water we have in 10 seconds. To work out how much we have in a minute, we need to just multiply that by 6. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 6 lots of 10 seconds, and that will give us how many litres we have per minute. So here we go, we'll turn our tap on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can see there, just by looking at our bucket, that we've half filled this bucket here, and this bucket on its own is 15 litres, so I'm going to guess that we have around about 7 to 7.5 litres per minute coming through that tap. So here we go, step number 2. I've still got this bucket here with all the water that I've just collected in my little test, and I've got 2 jugs here. One of these is a 2 litre jug. This is the jug that I use to make my green cordial, but I know that it's 2 litres right up to this line here. And then I have a smaller jug which I can use to measure up to half of 1 litre, 500 millilitres. I'm going to use these together to calculate exactly how much water is in this bucket. So I'm going to start with my little jug that fits in the bucket, and I'm going to pour it in until I fill this bucket right up. Now once I've filled this first jug right up, the big one, I know that I've already got 2 litres worth of water happening there. See, I'm doing a little bit of spilling. It's because I'm trying to hold the camera at the same time as doing this measurement. So there is 2 litres. So I can empty that out now. And I repeat this process over and over until I've emptied all of the water in my bucket. You can see I've gone down from about this line to here. So I can estimate that I'm still looking on track to be at about 7 litres worth of water. I'll come back to you when I'm closer to the end. Okay, welcome back. I'm at the bottom of my bucket now. I've almost filled this last jug up, and one of the benefits of getting to the end is you can tip your bucket a little bit. So there's my 7 litres right there, and that's actually, sorry, I'm at 8 litres at the moment, and that's the very end of my bucket. You can see there's no water left in there. And I'm right on the line there of my 2 litre jug mark. Now I filled that jug up 4 times, so 4 times 2 litres is 8 litres. So I have 8 litres worth of water coming through that tap every 10 seconds. I'm going to leave it there. We're going to switch over to a view on my computer, and we're going to do some calculations to work out exactly how much that means we have coming per minute. Okay, here we go. I am looking now at a little spreadsheet that your teacher has probably shared with you. And we're going to be using this sheet to do some calculations to work out exactly how much water we have flowing through our tap in 1 minute, in 1 hour, and in 1 day. Now, you could use a calculator and you could write the answers in your workbook if you wanted, but I'm going to show you how to do this in Google Sheets. One thing that you may not know is that Google Sheets, even though it's made up of some nice neat little tables, is actually a very powerful calculator. And you can actually ask each of these squares or each of these cells in Google Sheets to do things. Now, for example, I'm just going to open a new tab here. I'm going to show you this, but if I type in this cell here, which is called A1, if I type in A1 equals 1 plus 1 and then press enter, it will give me the answer. And this is because by pressing that equals sign before I type in a question, it knows that I'm going to be asking it to do some sort of calculation. Now, it doesn't just do mathematical calculations, it can do other sorts of calculations, but we're not focusing on those today. We're just going to be looking at mathematical calculations. So I could actually say, what is 1 times 400? And you'll notice that when I put times in, I didn't put an X because X is a letter. I actually need to use the asterisk, which is above the 8 key. So I press Shift 8 to show me that asterisk. And that enables me to do 1 times 400. I press enter, there it is. Now I can also do minus. I could do what is 40 minus 5, and it will give me the answer. Now, if I press enter, who wants to guess why that didn't work? Hopefully you said because I didn't use the equal sign. So if I go back up to that cell and I press equals 40 minus or dash 5, enter, there's my correct answer. So I've shown you addition, I've shown you multiplication, I've shown you subtraction. I should show you division as well. I can do what is 30 divided by 5. Now, again, I just need to put an equal sign in. If I make a mistake, I can just click on where I would like to change my sign and I can just backspace and change it like usual. But 30 divided is a slash 5, gives me the answer of 6. This is a very quick introduction to how powerful spreadsheets can be. Now, first thing we're going to do over here is we're going to type in our name. So my name is Mr. Dwyer. And here are the instructions. It says use this spreadsheet to calculate how much water flows through your tap and your sprinkler system each minute. We're talking about a lot of water, so we're going to be using litres as our unit of measurement, not milliliters. Milliliters would mean that our numbers are going to be too big, so we're going to go straight into litres. So we're going to start with our 10-second test. That's the one that we just did out in the garden. And below, we need to write down the volume of water that we calculated flowed through the tap in our 10-second window. Now, you might have a different volume, but the one that I showed you in my video earlier, I had 8 litres of water come per minute. Now, you see that when you typed in 8, this spreadsheet has automatically reformatted it to say 8.0 litres. Okay? And that's one of the other things that you can do with spreadsheets. I've set that template up for you. So it's always going to say something point something litres. Now, we already know how many there were in 10 seconds. We now need to work out how much water there was in 1 minute. Now, there's a very long way that we can do that, and that's let's go out to the garden. Let's get a really, really big bucket. We'll turn the tap on for a minute and we'll count how much water came in there. But you can imagine that's going to be a big bucket. It's going to take a whole minute to calculate just to run the tap, and then we have to measure it all out into our jugs. And it's a big waste of water. And we know that water is a very scarce resource and we need to protect it. So I've only used a small amount here. I've just used 10 seconds, and we're going to use maths to calculate how much there would be in 1 minute. Now, if we know that there is 8 litres in 10 seconds, how many seconds are there in 1 minute? Well, there's 60, which means there are 6 lots of 10 seconds. So we can actually do 8 times 6 to show us how many litres flow through the tap in 1 minute. Now, I want to enter that figure right here in the cell D8. You might have gone to your phone or to your calculator and quickly used the calculator and you said, oh, well, I know this 8 times 60 is 480, and you can type that in and whoop, there's your answer, it's all done. The problem is that we are using Google Sheets and it is a calculator. So why do we need to use our phone when we can use the calculator that's built in? I'm going to show you how to do that again. We're going to say equals first because we're showing Google Sheets that we're going to ask it to do some maths. And we want to say equals 8 times, so I'm going to use the asterisk again, that's shift key and the 8 button to get the little asterisks. So it's 8 litres times 6 lots of 10 seconds. Enter 48 litres. Now there we go. You may have just found that the calculation you've done on your calculator was wrong. Now the other thing that we can do, and it's a very tricky one, we don't even have to write in equals 8 times 6. We could do equals and just click on this cell here and say times 6. And it gives us the same figure because you've told it what's in C8. Well, C8 is 8 litres. So you've said calculate C8 and multiply it by 6. There we go, 48 litres. Now again, your numbers might be different depending on how many litres you had in 10 seconds. For 1 hour, how many minutes are in an hour? Well, hopefully you know this from maths. There are 60 minutes in every hour. So again, we can say equals that times 6. D. Enter. 60 minutes in 1 hour. And the last thing that we could do is how many are in a day, how many hours in a day. There are 24, so we could say equals that times 24. That's a lot of litres. 69,120 litres. Did you know that if I turned the tap on and forgot to turn it off, that's how much water I would waste every single day? It's a lot of wasted water, and that's why it's really important to make sure we only use the tap or the sprinkler for as long as we need to use it.